The grand hall of the Galactic Council loomed with an intimidating majesty, its vaulted ceilings adorned with shimmering constellations that mirrored the vast dominions under its control. Delegates from countless species filled the chamber, their varied forms and features a testament to the diversity of the galaxy. Silence gripped the hall as High Chancellor Vurak ascended the central podium. His presence, though slight in stature, commanded the room with the gravity of his authority. Vurak's voice, amplified by the chamber's acoustics, rang out with cold precision. Esteemed members of the Council, today we convene to ensure the balance of power within our galaxy. The rapid advancements of one species threaten this equilibrium. Effective immediately, humanity is to cease all terraforming activities and decommission their flagship, the UNS Reaper. A murmur rippled through the hall, some delegates nodding in agreement, while others exchanged uneasy glances. But it was Ambassador Lyra Keth, Earth's representative, who broke the growing tension. Rising from her seat, she strode to the center of the floor, her expression a mix of disbelief and defiance. High Chancellor, this decree is an affront to the very principles upon which this council was founded. Humanity has only sought to better its future, not to undermine others. You ask us to dismantle our efforts, our survival. In the name of what? Fear? Intimidation? Her voice, though controlled, carried an edge that cut through the room's stillness. Vurak's response was immediate and dismissive. Ambassador Keth, humanity's unchecked expansion and militarization present a clear and present danger to the galaxy. This council will not stand idly by while Earth prepares for war. War? Keth's eyes narrowed, her tone sharpening. If you force this decree upon us, you will leave us no choice but to defend our rights, our sovereignty. The High Chancellor's gaze hardened. Your words betray the very threat you deny. The decree stands. The weight of Vurak's finality hung in the air as Keth returned to her seat, her mind racing with the consequences of what had just transpired. Earth would not take this lying down. Far from the Grand Hall's grandeur, on Earth, Captain Aiden Cross sat in his command chair aboard the UNS Reaper. The warship was a marvel of human engineering, a symbol of humanity's resilience and ingenuity. The communique from the Council had just arrived, and as Cross read its contents, a slow burn of anger and resolve ignited within him. Decommission the Reaper? Cross muttered, his voice laced with disbelief. They expect us to kneel, to abandon everything we've worked for. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Commander Harper, stood by with a similar look of indignation. Orders from the top, sir. The Council thinks they can keep us in check? Cross looked out at the stars beyond the ship's viewport, his mind already set. Prepare the crew. We're not decommissioning anything. If the Council wants a show of force, we'll give them one. Set course for the Council's homeworld. Harper nodded, the fire in her eyes mirroring her captain's. Aye, sir. But this could lead to war. Cross met her gaze with steely determination. If it does, then we'll fight. But we'll fight on our terms. The UNS Reaper roared to life, its engines humming with the promise of defiance. As the ship broke free of Earth's orbit, its crew was acutely aware of the gravity of their mission. They were heading into the heart of enemy territory, carrying the hopes and the pride of all humanity. Captain Cross, alone in his thoughts, knew the risks. This was no ordinary mission. It was a stand against the galaxy's most powerful beings. Yet he also knew that backing down was not an option. Humanity had fought too hard, sacrificed too much, to be dictated by those who feared their potential. As the UNS Reaper streaked through the void, Earth's defiance took physical form, a singular, unstoppable force hurtling toward the seat of galactic power. The battle for humanity's future had begun. The UNS Reaper cut through the dark expanse of space, a lone figure hurtling toward the Galactic Council's homeworld. Inside the ship, tension coiled around the crew like a tightening vice. Every officer and engineer moved with purpose, their actions honed by the knowledge that their mission might very well spark a galaxy-wide conflict. Captain Aiden Cross stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the viewport as stars streaked by. The vastness of space seemed almost indifferent to the gravity of their undertaking. The silence of the void outside was a stark contrast to the storm brewing within each crew member's mind. Cross broke the stillness with a call to his crew. All hands, prepare for arrival at the Council's homeworld. We'll be entering hostile territory. Stay sharp and remember what's at stake. His voice, steady and commanding, resonated through the ship's intercom. Every soul aboard the Reaper knew their captain would lead them through whatever awaited. As the ship approached the Council's homeworld, the planet's looming presence filled the viewport. A sight both awe-inspiring and ominous. Its surface was a patchwork of alien landscapes, home to the galaxy's most powerful species. Orbiting the planet, however, was a formidable fleet. Vessels of every shape and size, each one bristling with weaponry. The Council had mobilized its entire defensive force, a clear signal that they would not allow humanity's defiance to go unchecked. "Captain," Lieutenant Commander Harper said, her voice clipped with urgency, "we're picking up multiple signals. The Council's fleet is locking onto us." Cross nodded, his expression unreadable. "Maintain course. We're not here to fight unless we're given no choice." The Reaper continued its approach, unwavering despite the sea of ships gathering before it. On the surface below, the Grand Hall was abuzz with activity. High Chancellor Vurak stood at the helm of a massive communications array, monitoring the fleet's movements. His cold eyes narrowed as the human warship grew nearer. "They dare defy us," Vurak spat, his voice seething with contempt. "Human arrogance knows no bounds. Order the fleet to prepare for engagement. We will show them the consequences of their insolence." The command rippled through the Council's fleet, and the once idle ships began to move, encircling the Reaper. The atmosphere on the bridge of the human ship grew heavier with each passing second, the tension thick enough to cut. "Incoming transmission from the Council's flagship, sir," Harper announced. "Put it through," Cross replied, his tone calm. Vurak's image flickered onto the screen, his expression one of barely concealed fury. "Captain Cross, you are in violation of the Galactic Council's decree. Stand down immediately or face destruction." Cross met Vurak's gaze with unflinching resolve. "Chancellor, we're here to make a statement. Humanity will not be cowed by unjust decrees. We seek a peaceful resolution, but we will not back down." Vurak's lips curled into a sneer. "Peaceful? You come armed to the teeth, threatening our homeworld, and you speak of peace? You have one last chance, Captain. Retreat, or be annihilated." Before Cross could respond, another voice cut through the transmission. "This is Ambassador Lyra Keth. I urge both parties to cease hostilities immediately." Lyra's voice carried a weight that momentarily halted the building storm. "Chancellor Vurak, humanity seeks only respect and fair treatment. We wish to avoid bloodshed, but if forced, we will defend ourselves." Vurak's gaze flickered between the two humans on the screen, calculating. "Captain Cross, will you surrender your vessel if the decree is lifted?" Cross considered the offer, the fate of his ship and crew hanging in the balance. "If the decree is lifted, we will return to Earth. No blood will be spilled." The bridge fell silent as Vurak weighed his options. But before he could respond, a sudden surge of energy lit up the screens. The Council fleet had opened fire, a barrage aimed directly at the Reaper. "Evasive maneuvers," Cross barked, as the ship lurched to avoid the incoming fire. The battle had begun, not by choice, but by necessity. As the Reaper deftly dodged the onslaught, Captain Cross knew there was no turning back. The Council had drawn first blood, and now, humanity would respond. The void erupted into chaos as the UNS Reaper evaded the incoming barrage, the ship's shields flaring brightly against the relentless assault. Captain Aiden Cross gripped the armrests of his command chair, his mind racing through possibilities. The Council had forced his hand, and now the fate of his crew, and possibly all of humanity, rested on his decisions. "Return fire," Cross commanded, his voice carrying the weight of the moment. The Reaper responded with precision, its turrets swiveling to unleash a counterattack. Beams of energy and bursts of plasma lit up the blackness of space, striking the Council's ships with devastating effect. Despite being outnumbered, the human warship's superior technology and tactics allowed it to hold its own, exploiting every weakness in the enemy's formation. On the Council's flagship, High Chancellor Vurak watched the battle unfold with a mixture of shock and fury. The Reaper was proving far more formidable than he had anticipated. This ship must be destroyed, he hissed to his officers. Redouble our efforts. Break their defenses. The Council fleet surged forward, pressing the attack with renewed vigor. Yet, for every move they made, Captain Cross had an answer. He anticipated their strategies, countering with maneuvers that kept the Reaper just out of reach, its weapons striking with deadly accuracy. But even as the battle raged, Cross knew they couldn't sustain this forever. The Reaper was strong, but the Council's forces were overwhelming. He needed to end this, and quickly. Lieutenant Commander Harper, Cross called out, prepare for the Kessler maneuver. Harper's eyes widened in realization. The Kessler, sir? That could. It's our best shot. Do it, Cross cut in, his tone leaving no room for doubt. Harper swiftly relayed the orders, and the Reaper began to shift its trajectory. The ship's engines roared to life, propelling it toward a dense field of debris left by the initial skirmish. The Council fleet, intent on finishing the human vessel, followed in close pursuit. As they entered the debris field, Cross activated the ship's experimental magnetic pulse. Instantly, the surrounding debris, fragments of destroyed ships, abandoned satellites, and more, was pulled into a spiraling vortex, creating a deadly barrier between the Reaper and its pursuers. The Council's ships, caught off guard, collided with the whirling debris. Explosions rippled through their ranks as the wreckage tore through hulls and crippled their systems. The Reaper, meanwhile, navigated the chaos with expert precision, emerging on the other side relatively unscathed. The sudden turn of events left the Council fleet in disarray. Vurak, his face twisted in rage, slammed his fist onto the console before him. Enough. All ships, retreat. Regroup and prepare for a second assault. But before the Council could carry out Vurak's orders, Captain Cross seized the moment. Open a channel to the Council flagship, he ordered. Moments later, Vurak's enraged visage appeared on the screen. You dare. Cross cut him off, his voice cold and unwavering. This ends now, Chancellor. We've shown that we can match your forces. Continuing this fight will only lead to more deaths, on both sides. Vurak's eyes burned with hatred, but there was a flicker of something else, doubt. The Council fleet had suffered unexpected losses, and the humans had proven their strength. Was it worth risking total annihilation? Before Vurak could respond, Ambassador Lyra Keth, still on the Council's homeworld, joined the transmission. Chancellor, enough blood has been spilled. Humanity doesn't seek dominance, only respect. Lift the decree, and we will return peacefully to Earth. The silence that followed was heavy with the weight of the decision. Vurak's pride battled with the reality of the situation. Finally, he exhaled slowly, his shoulders sagging with reluctant acceptance. The decree will be lifted. Return to Earth, Captain, and take your warship with you. Cross nodded, relief tempered by the knowledge of the narrow escape. We'll leave at once. As the Reaper turned away from the Council's homeworld, its crew let out a collective breath. The battle was over, but the implications would linger. Captain Cross stared out at the stars, knowing that while this victory secured humanity's immediate future, it was just the beginning of a far more complex struggle for their place in the galaxy. The Reaper set course for Earth, carrying not just its crew, but the weight of a hard-earned respect, one that came with the price of vigilance and the understanding that the galaxy would never see humanity the same way again.